Hi, I am author Lin Lustig, and I want art in my books, so I'm figuring out how to do it. And in the meantime, I want to talk about an id list. If you have not heard of id lists and you're a storyteller, I highly recommend that you check out Jennifer Lynn Barnes. She did the original talk on this, as well as the psychology of fandom. Absolutely fascinating. Just Google Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and she will definitely pop up. We're going to talk about it just a little bit today, mostly because I have Toothless and Hiccup up on the screen, and they are a fantasy movie that I just absolutely adore. And I think part of it is because it's following this concept of the universal id list fantasies. If you've heard of universal fantasies, that's Theodora Taylor, also highly recommended. So, according to Jennifer Lynn Barnes, there's about 6 primary categories that fit the id fantasies. One is just the pleasure of touch, and that can be anything from just like combing hair to giving hugs, just something that is human connection, or in this case, dragon connection. I am fine with this. Beauty is another aspect. So, actually, if you watch this film, the animation in it is absolutely stunning, especially when Hiccup is first walking through the forest and you have this misty background. You have all the detail of all of the greenery and ferns, and it really is beautiful. I tried to draw it, did not do it successfully, but I loved it regardless. Another aspect is this concept of high resources or wealth. So essentially, Hiccup is kind of like a prince. He's the son of the chief. The chief actually has all this power, which actually, power and status is another category. So the high resources and wealth, let's see here. What would that actually fall under? Could be that the high resource is simply that he has access to all of these materials in the workshop and is able to then use them to inadvertently capture Hiccup. Wait, nope, Hiccup's the guy. Toothless. Capture Toothless. I know words. Shush. All right, and then we come into competition. So, competition in this film, especially, is really apparent right off the bat. So, we have Hiccup trying to catch a dragon, trying to kill a dragon in order to compete with the other kids in the village. And he's using that as actually part of his status. So when you kill a certain kind of dragon, it has kind of this implication. And of course, the absolutely epic one to catch is the offspring of lightning and death itself, also known as Toothless. So that covers competition. And then, of course, we have danger. And the concept is more of a safe danger. Like, as a reader or a viewer, we like to kind of have these thrills while knowing that we are safe in our seat. And a lot of that is just like, get the blood pumping, get our hearts just like going, and to get us invested in the story. So, with those 6 categories generally covering How to Train Your Dragon, I actually wanted to go a little bit deeper into my personal id list. So this is the glory of an id list, is it's actually really individual for every specific person. So you might find that you are drawn to a kind of story that it could be anything from, these high fantasies that are Lord of the Ring-esque to, really intense sci-fi. It could be romances, which is my primary genre. And there's going to be these very specific touches and moments that you look for over and over, even if you don't really know you're looking for it. So, some of them are going to be small, some of them are going to be big. So for me, I really like enemies to lovers, which is a trope at the same time. So that's going to be one of these like bigger universal fantasies. But some of the little things I really love it in scenes when the person of interest like lifts her hair and the other love interest puts a necklace on around them. Like, I don't know, there is something so sensual about that slight touch along the neck and that like intimacy of giving this gift. And there is something in my body that just goes, ooh, and it makes me really happy. So another interesting aspect of these is a lot of them are kind of trained from our youth. So they are things that we were introduced to early on that we just absolutely adore. And another one of mine, I don't know if you've ever seen Ever After with Drew Barrymore, but it is a Cinderella retelling. And there is a moment where she enters a ball and she is in the most beautiful outfit, lots of like shiny, glittery goodness. And the moment she walks in, the room stops and stares at her. And I call this the Ever After ball moment. and it is glorious. This also has to come in with the beauty aspect where she's getting her kind of glow up, and it is stunning. And so there is this attachment to that kind of scene where it's the beauty of the ball, it's the beauty of showing up, it's that absolute capturing of attention that she has. And so that's another really good one that fits right in. So for How to Train Your Dragon, in a way, Hiccup has a glow up when you get into, of course, movie 2. But in this, it's more that confidence where he goes from being, the Hiccup, where he's just running around trying to find his place, to actually finding it and to truly owning who he is and all of his differences. So let's see here. Some other things that you're going to find in How to Train Your Dragon. We have this coming of age. So this is going to be one of those larger tropes where, again, a person truly finds themselves and finds their place in the world, especially when you have another one of my id list items, which is the black sheep. So you have him standing out. He's completely other to the rest of his tribe, even though he's in this position of power as the chief's son. He's also this disappointment within that power in the first half of the film. Going along with this, we have kind of this relationship, this bromance between Hiccup and Toothless, where we have the concept of this like devoted to you. Toothless does anything and everything to protect Hiccup, and there's a moment when he bursts into the stage when Hiccup is in danger, completely exposing himself. And it is this magical moment that just like gives me these tingles of just like incredible emotion. And I just, there is no explaining necessarily why I love something and why somebody else may or may not. And that's the beauty of these id lists, is they're going to look a little different for every single person. So if you are out there and if you are a storyteller, I highly recommend starting to record your little things. Like every time you watch a movie and there's just that like, ooh moment, write it down. Every time you're reading a book, anytime you come across, art that you look at and it just absolutely is stunning to you, make a note of it. Because as you come back time and time, you're able to reference this list and decide like, oh, I haven't done funny violence in a while. Don't ask why that's a thing. I just really think it's hilarious when there's this kind of accidental sort of violence in things, which sounds terrible. I am so sorry. Let's see, there are other interesting things about this movie. I mean, come on. If you haven't seen this movie, where have you been? This is an older movie, and it's getting a remake, which I'm a little nervous about, I'm not going to lie. These live-action redos have been questionable at best. There are very few that have actually really pulled it off. Another aspect, I really like this discovering your true special talent. This is so well exemplified in this movie when Hiccup is first writing Toothless, and we have this attempt to understand with this cheat sheet, and he's overthinking it, and then the moment he has to throw that list away and just go by instinct, he absolutely destroys it. Just immediately has found his skill, has found his place, when in the rest of the film he's been very uncoordinated, very unsure, and hasn't truly found anything that is his. So that really does cover most of these when it comes to How to Train Your Dragon. More of my personal ones, I mean, the id list can be anything from place to people to just like little details or character. And another one I really love are the Pacific Northwest style forests. Now, How to Train Your Dragon, I think, is intended to take place in Northern Ireland. At least that's what I'm guessing based on the stone structure in one of the scenes. But when he's first walking through the forest, you get that mist, you get that absolute like magical mystery, and it's so lush. And having grown up in the Pacific Northwest, that is home to me. That is something that I grew up appreciating and having as part of my comfort as a younger individual. So it definitely went on my list. And that's a really good example of a place trope, or rather place id list item. Because some of the other ones, they're like greenhouses. Again, I like the lush thing. We have herbal apothecaries. Don't know why I love that. Probably because I really adored some kind of like witchy stuff. That ball moment from Ever After. Same concept. So make sure that you put down in the comments what some of your id list items are, because I'm always curious and constantly trying to expand my list. I mean, I have 4 or 5 pages now of just list after listed item of the oddball things that I come across. You know, some of them are more specific than others, where I don't necessarily understand why something works, but it does. So I have things in here from Doctor Who. I have things in here from movies like How to Train Your Dragon, and really all over the place. I mean, things I like, glittering stars. Look at what I just did in the art. I just put glittering stars in the background. I put those clouds that are really reflecting gorgeous light. I've been putting those in everything lately. Clearly, that's another id list item. But regardless, make sure you take a moment and think about that. If you're a storyteller, if you're a webtoon artist, anything along those lines. Because then you're going to get art that you are proud of, even if it's story, if it's technical like this, if it's anything that you are creating. As long as you are putting that heart and that passion into it, you're going to win. Trust me. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. I hope this helped kind of create some ideas in your head on what you can follow through with. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and come back soon. All right, I'll see you next time.